Hey everybody, it's Angie from Trips with Angie, and today we're going to talk all about the Seabourn Expedition experience. If you're a subscriber, first of all, thank you. And you know that I just returned from a cruise to the Norwegian Arctic on board the Seabourn Venture. And before I went on the expedition cruise last year to Brazil and then this year to the Arctic, I had a lot of questions about what an expedition cruise experience was like. So in this video, I'm going to try to answer all of them. So first of all, what's different about an expedition cruise? Well, in this case, the size of the ship, the Seabourn Venture, holds about 220 guests, but the big difference is going to be your itinerary. These itineraries are designed for exploration. Many of your days will be spent on board a Zodiac. So what's a Zodiac? It's a small inflated boat. They store it on the top deck of the ship and lower it each day. An expedition team member will guide you along an area to explore. So when we were in the Amazon, we went down the Amazon River. In the Arctic, we were exploring these different bays around glaciers, trying to get closer to animals. In the case of cold weather sailings, you'll have two different types of experiences. The first is a landing. So this is where they will take you via a Zodiac to a plot of land. Maybe it's an island or a peninsula. You'll get out of the boat. This is considered a wet landing in most cases. That means you'll pull up to the beach in the Zodiac and you'll step out into the water to walk up onto the beach because the Zodiacs can't go all the way up to the beach. You'll need waterproof boots, which are provided, and waterproof pants to make sure you don't get soaking wet in case a small wave comes by. The second type of experience is a cruise. This is where they'll take you out in the Zodiac and cruise around looking at different things. We had a wonderful cruise exploring some glaciers throughout our sailings. We even got to see a walrus in the water and a seal. So this is a chance to get up close to some of the wildlife. Because you are setting out and exploring in these small groups, your itinerary may change. So that's the second big thing to know about expedition cruising. So the first, it's a smaller size. You'll be heading out on Zodiacs. The second is that the itinerary is extremely subject to change. In fact, you may have already picked up on this if you've looked at booking some of the cruises. They'll have something like, in the case of our Arctic cruise, Seabourn Experience for 5 days, and they give you no other details. They don't tell you where you're going or what you're going to see. And the reason for that is they don't know. They have a general idea of the areas they want to go visit, but it really depends on the permitting process, what the weather's going to be like, what the sea conditions are, and if there's any animals that need to be protected in the area. In the case of the Arctic, we had some polar bears spoil a couple of our landing sites when the polar bear showed up. So obviously we can't land and go walk around when there's a polar bear around because they are vicious and they'll eat us. For real. I really didn't think this was true, but they will eat anything. They are apex predators and they're super scary. Because of this, you have to be very flexible and adapt to changes. You can't really have your heart set on doing one thing or another when it comes to expedition cruising because things can change so quickly. Like for instance, one of my big disappointments on the Arctic cruise was that we didn't get to really go into the ice overnight. So one of the marquee moments on an Arctic cruise is you sail into the ice shelf, you spend the night, and that's when you hope a polar bear comes and gets really close to the ship. In our case, it was super foggy. We could barely even enter the ice shelf. We just went in for a little bit into the fog, got to see some of the ice, and then had to head south. So how do you keep up with the itinerary if things are always changing? Well, the daily briefing solves that problem. Every day, usually right before dinner, the expedition team leader will hold a daily briefing for everyone on board. Most people usually go in person, but you can also watch it in your cabin or on replay later in the evening. The expedition leader will go over all the current plans, all the current thinking, what tomorrow is going to look like, how it's going to play out, if there's going to be a landing, if there's going to be a cruise. In the case of our Arctic cruise, as well as my Amazon cruise, there were 2 things per day. So in Amazon, we only did cruises. We would have a sunrise and a sunset cruise. In the terms of the Arctic, we could have up to 3 things during a day, maybe a landing in the morning and a cruise in the afternoon, maybe 2 landings. It just depended on the current conditions. The other key piece of the daily briefing is going to be to tell you what order you'll be going out in the Zodiacs. When you board, you're given a card. On that card is a colored dot. That dot will be your group. In my case, on the Arctic cruise, it was blue. So every day they would put up the schedule and they would say, you know, blue is 9:10 to 9:20. You'd be ready to go on your expedition. And then they had 5 different color groups and they would rotate through the time. So like one group wasn't always the early group or one group wasn't always the late group. So that's how they kind of kept things in order versus having everyone all lined up in a huge line that stretched throughout the whole ship waiting for their turn. They divided people into color groups. So what else is there to do on board while you're waiting to go on your Zodiac expeditions? Well, one big thing is the lectures. So all of the expedition team members have various areas of expertise and they put together lectures to tell you more about what they know a lot about. These usually happen in between the landings and the cruises. They also are available in your cabin or they are recorded if you want to read them later. The expedition team has open hours where they'll stand on the bow or the aft of the ship with their binoculars and you can hang out with them, ask them all your questions. They're really fascinating people to get to know and we really enjoyed the open hours time where we'd be looking for animals together on the bow or the aft of the ship. The other thing that comes up on the expedition ship is calls to the bow for animals. So we woke up at 5:30 one morning to the captain announcing that polar bears were on our starboard side and we all got dressed really quickly and ran out to the bow. Now, the polar bears were very far away because Norwegian requirements make sure that you cannot get anywhere close. In fact, they were so far away, our binoculars didn't even come close to being able to zoom in on them. But on the ship, they have a special camera called the GSR camera. And this camera will be displayed into the Discovery Center as well as into your cabins. And they can do the super zoom. So here's an example of the super zoom. We were able to watch a polar bear and its cub feed on a dead dolphin. Sorry. Spoiler alert, hope that's not too upsetting, but they are apex predators. And we were able to watch them do all that. We also got to get some great close-ups of walruses on Muffin Island. So I would say not to worry too much about your tech. So if you are super into photography and you have one of those lenses the length of your arm, I mean, go for it, make it happen. I don't. I have a point and shoot Canon and my cell phone. And so what I did was I depended on the photography team on board. So on board your sailing, in addition to the expedition team, is going to be a photographer and a videographer. And they take incredible photos and they have a drone. So you can see here, this is drone footage of the beluga whales we saw one day. They also take incredible pictures. You will get a link to the photographer's pictures at the end of the cruise. They also have open photography hours. So the photographer will host a series of seminars and lectures. There is a photography studio on board with computers if you want to process some of your own photographs. The photographer's there to help you if you need it. And then you can also share photos with other guests as well as with the photographer. They'll send you a link to a Dropbox where you can download any of the photos you want. And that's when you really get to see some of the beautiful footage and photographs from the journey. The videographer also puts together a video at the end of the journey capturing everything that happened. And that is available on the Seabourn Voyage page. So here's how to access that. The easiest way to find it is to Google Seabourn Voyage Tracker. Then it will be the first option that comes up and it will take you to a main page. You'll scroll down to view Seabourn Voyages. Then you'll click the 3 lines in the upper left. Then this will bring up all the options. You'll do the ship, the year, and the date of the sailing you want to see the video for and to see the daily updates from. And then you can see there is a long post every day about what they did. There's also some of the professional photographers' pictures. And then to see the video at the end of the cruise, you'll go to Video Journal, watch video, or you can also download it. Now, as you saw from how to access it, anybody can go. So what I really enjoyed was the week or two before we were set to set sail, I started reading the daily updates coming out of the team for our sailing. Now let's talk a little bit more about the onboard experience because you have a large range of accommodations when it comes to expedition ships, from a National Geographic or Hurtigruten to Seabourn. So let's talk about what makes Seabourn a little bit different. And the first thing to talk about is the suites. Coming into the cabin, you do need a key card to turn on the lights. Right when you come in, it's going to be the bathroom. So inside you have a bathtub with a clothes drying hack and then a handheld. You do have two faucets, some storage, and then a small shower that has the up top or the handheld. And then you get Molten Brown products. They have shampoo and conditioner, as well as a number of different body washes. That is your life jacket cabinet. So here's your life jackets. You also have the drying rack. So this is if your coat gets wet, this is a great place to put it. It'll dry it out. This was a connecting room, so we had a room to the room next door. And then you have your closets. These are slippers hanging on the wall. You have a safe. Your robes are in the back. A number of drawers and then hang up space. You also have an umbrella here in the corner. And then here is your bed. You have a side table. This is additional storage in here, so you can see. Large television. You do have a curtain that can come across to the sofa bed. There are outlets next to the bed, a table that can telescope up or down. You have your own bar with that, and then you can pick 2 different alcohols. You also have water. They will also provide distilled water if you need it. In here, in case you need to make your own cocktails. And then down here is a mini fridge with what you had said you wanted. And you have a desk area. They do provide a hair dryer, another set of curtains, and then your outside seating. Another great thing about Seabourn is all the dining options. Now these are small ships, so they're not gonna have a ton of restaurants, but they do have the main restaurant, which is called The Restaurant. Innovative, huh? That offers breakfast and dinner every day, and then lunch some days if everyone's going to be on board at the same time during the lunch hour. The Colonnade offers a buffet, breakfast and lunch, and then a sit-down dinner option. We prefer that. It's a little more casual. It has some really inventive items. We tend to eat in the Colonnade at night. But a pro tip is at breakfast and lunch, there always is a special. So there's a special you can order at breakfast. Usually it's like an egg special and maybe like a sweet special, a pancake or a crepe. During the lunchtime, there was always a pasta and a fish special. So be sure to ask about those. The Colonnade also has a grill component, so you can get your hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken sandwich. That's available for extended hours beyond just the general lunchtime. Seabourn Square has a coffee shop, so you can get all of your lattes. And then it also has a revolving set of food throughout the day. In the morning, it has pastries and yogurt. In the afternoons, the ice cream opens. You can get sandwiches, salads, and then some sweet treats. In the front of the ship is the bow lounge. So this is kind of a cool place to hang out. It has all these different computers that show you what's happening. You have incredible views out of the bow, and that also has like a quick grab and go lunch where they have the great soup of the day offering, some salads, and some other snacks. So that's available in the bow lounge. In the 2 lounges on the upper deck, they have a happy hour. In the club, they have a sushi chef, which is phenomenal. So you can get sushi there in the evenings. You can either have that as an appetizer or your main meal. Then in the Constellation Lounge, they set up a tapas bar. So it has like meats and cheeses, different little snacks. So if you get hungry before dinner, you can always swing up there, or if you just wanted a light dinner because you had a big lunch. One really great thing Seabourn does is how they treat their solo travelers. So each evening, the maitre d' makes a special effort to create a hosted table where a member of the crew or expedition team will host a table for solo travelers. Solo travelers will get an invitation to their cabin, and then they can sit, meet other solo travelers, and talk to a member of the crew. So every evening, as a solo traveler, you have the opportunity to sit at one of these hosted tables. So you never have to eat dinner alone, unless you want to. As far as things to do, in addition to the lectures I always talked about, there was a daily trivia at noon during our sailing. There are a gym and a spa on board. So if you want to get your workout in, that's available. There's a fitness trainer that offers included classes, things from like Pilates, HIIT workouts. I think you call it HIIT workouts, right? Tell me in the comments. And like strength training classes, abs classes. So that's part of the schedule. The spa has a good complement of massages and facials available. The ship has hot tubs and a pool, an infinity edge pool. That's really cool. That was not quite as popular on our Arctic sailing, but the hot tubs were quite popular. So you can see here you have the pool, the 2 hot tubs, as well as the shower on the back deck. This is the back deck of the Colonnade. And then up on the upper deck, just outside of the club, you have 2 more hot tubs available. In the evenings, there was live music. So we had a duo, an incredible duo, that they were some of the best musicians I've ever seen, Opalira. They were awesome. You should follow them on Instagram just to see how great they are. And then there was also a guitar player. She did a phenomenal job. And the cruise director also performed 3 or 4 shows during the cruise. And lastly, for things to do were some special events. So they had a disco night where they turned the Discovery Lounge into quite the nightclub. All of the musicians played together. The cruise director sang. It was really, really fun. They have the caviar party. Every Seabourn ship has a caviar party. They bring out the caviar and various appetizers and snacks, which is really nice. They did it in the Colonnade back deck during our sailing. And then lastly, they have the final night party. Ours was supposed to be outside, but they had to set it up in the Discovery Lounge, and they had incredible appetizers. The musicians were there. Everyone got a chance to say one more thank you to all of the crew and expedition team. So what are the pros and cons of this kind of sailing? Well, the pros are you get to some off the beaten path places that you can only access via a Zodiac or expedition ship. The pro of taking it with Seabourn is you do all of this in luxury. I mean, you saw the beautiful suites, all the dining options, you have incredible service, high-end everything in terms of, you know, your bath amenities, your cocktails, the food. It really is a luxurious way to see these more rugged parts of the world. One of the cons is that there are even smaller expedition ships. So depending on where you're really trying to go, I, as a travel agent, work with you to figure out what's the best way to get there and what's the experience that you're gonna have. So I think it's really important to know, like, do you wanna be on a ship with only 40 people? So it's 4 Zodiacs, they all go out at the same time, you don't have to worry about your color, or do you want to have more amenities, you know, the nicer suites and the nicer restaurants? That's kind of a big decision point when it comes to expedition cruising. Then one last thing is what to pack. So Seabourn provides a lot of gear. So they give you a lot of gear. So the first thing you get is this backpack that can be waterproof. So it has the seal on the top, the inside is a little plasticky, and it has the backpack strap. So this is if you want to take anything to shore, this would be an easy way to do it. Everything is from Helly Hansen's active department. So this is the water shield pack, so that's for free. Then you get a hat, a nice Helly Hansen hat, so you don't need to bring that. And then you get your jacket. You'll want to pre-order your jacket and make sure you have the right size and everything. I can help you do that as your travel agent. I take care of that for you. It goes up to 5X for men and 3X for women. And this is the Polar Shield jacket. So this goes underneath the inside shell, and then you have the outer waterproof shell. So this is how they're going to keep track of you on land. This is an exceptional jacket, again, Helly Hansen. And then one thing I think most people didn't notice is there's this little zipper pouch right here that is the size of your room key. So it's a good place to tuck it in, keep it safe, keep it dry. And then you have the reflectors and a number of pockets. There's pockets up here, pocket here. You can put your hand in here. So some storage available in the jacket as well, because on top of this, you're going to put your life jacket. In addition to all that, you have just amenities in the cabin. So robes, slippers, shampoo, conditioner, shower gel, lotion, and a pair of binoculars. We always bring a second set of binoculars, and I'll link to the pair we have. I'm going to put a blog post together with all this information. I'll link it in the first comment. We always bring a second set of binoculars just so we both have one, so we can both, you know, be looking at the animal that's really far away. We also brought waterproof pants. That is a must-have. A fleece, long underwear, really good socks. We have these merino wool socks, and I'll link to those, that held up really well, kept our feet warm. It was not as cold as a lot of people were expecting. People brought a lot of really warm weather clothes, but it was only in the 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So we had no issues with just, some leggings. I brought a pair of fleece lined leggings. I'll link to those. That were really helpful. Just a pair of leggings or pants under our waterproof pants. Fleece, and then the jacket they provide is really warm. So we didn't bring a ton of cold weather stuff, but you do want to have a really good pair of gloves, especially make sure they are waterproof, because you can get splashed in the Zodiac. Another tip is to have a pair of slip-off shoes, because when you go down to put on your waterproof boots, it's just easier if you have a quick set of slides, or some people are even wearing the slippers from their room, but it can get a little wet. So I would recommend something with a bit of a rubber sole, but so that it's easy just to slide your foot out, put on your rubber boots, and go. So those are the details about what to expect on a Seabourn Expedition cruise. What other questions can I answer for you? I would love to book your next Seabourn adventure to share with you even more tips and tricks about how to make the most of your experience. You can email Angie at tripswithangie.com to see what the current offer is for YouTube subscribers. And then here are some videos YouTube and I thought you might like.